coverage. With great coverage. Say a little prayer. Let's say a little prayer. We're just gonna sit here and keep doing this for a second. Hey guys, welcome back. So I completely had a brain fart and forgot to film an intro for this video, but we're just gonna be testing out some LA Girl makeup together today, just doing a little get ready with me. I placed an order on their website and I just wanted to test out these products with you guys on camera and do a little get ready with me. So let's get to it. Okay, so I already applied some moisturizer and also a primer, a relatively hydrating one. This is the IT Cosmetics No. 50 Serum Anti-Aging Collagen Veil Primer. I love this primer. It's like awesome skincare, but it's a little bit hydrating as well because I find that I like this with a more hydrating primer. Just a little bit more hydration to it, just because this is a matte foundation. So this is the Pro Matte HD High Definition Long Wear Matte Foundation, and I got the shade GLM 716 Nude. So it's got a nice pump to it. So I'm just gonna get some of this on an e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush and just blend this in. This looks a little bit deep for me, just barely, but once I get it on, it looks like an exact match. Just right here, I don't know. Maybe I'm used to using foundations that are probably too light for me. Who knows? When I'm trying to pick a foundation online, I tend to go a little bit light because I'm like, well, I can always bronze up. But if it's too dark, then it's a little bit more difficult to make it work. So as far as coverage on this, I would say it is medium buildable. Like buildable up to in between medium and full. But you can see it just kind of all depends on how much you use. I use a little bit more on my forehead and I'm getting a little bit better coverage there than on like this cheek. I used a little bit less, so you can tell I don't have quite as good a coverage there. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Finish wise, it's definitely a matte foundation for sure, but I don't think it looks overly dry necessarily, but I do like to use it with a hydrating or at least semi-hydrating primer. I just find that I like the look of it on the skin a little bit more. It does have kind of a fragrancy, perfumey sort of a scent to it, so definitely that's there. But overall, I mean, I really like how this looks on the skin. Let me get a mirror. Yeah, overall, I think it looks pretty good on the skin. It looks a little bit dry in this part of my face and a little bit dry on my nose, but I feel like things just get kind of weird on the nose with a lot of foundations. It's looking a little bit dry and patchy on my nose. Yeah, for sure, actually. Oh, and as I wipe, it's wiping away the product. So, not an ideal whatever is happening there. But over here on my cheeks, I really like it. I've worn this multiple times, and I do like this foundation. It wears really well, and I think it looks nice on the skin. It's just, you know, sometimes things get weird on the nose, and also right here. So that's not uncommon for me. I think that happens with a lot of foundations, especially ones that are a little bit more matte. So you have to like matte foundations to like this one for sure. I'm gonna use a little bit of concealer for eyeshadow primer. I'm gonna use the Pro Conceal HD High Definition Concealer in Vanilla. This one right here. So just gonna get a little bit of that on my finger and apply that as my primer. Okay, for brows, I'm going to use this one right here, a little tiny brow pencil. This is the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil, and I got the shade Taupe. So let me get a mirror so I can see a little bit closer. So just going to start carving out my brows and giving some shape and filling in. Man, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the lights in here or what. But so often when I'm trying out brow pencils, they look red. They look so much warmer in here. I'll go to edit my footage or I'll go into another room and they don't look nearly as red, but in here it's like, this looks red right now. Or like kind of just like strawberry blonde, definitely not taupe, But, you know, like I said, I mean, sometimes it looks that way in here, and then it doesn't necessarily in the footage. Texture-wise, I'm liking this pencil. It's applying well. It seems to be kind of like that happy medium where it is creamy enough to apply, but it's not so creamy that it's gliding everywhere. That's usually kind of the ideal scenario where it's easier to apply, but then it doesn't move everywhere, so it doesn't, you know, move on your face throughout the day. So liking the texture. Yeah, I like the texture of this pencil, but it just doesn't seem like the color is quite ideal. I think it works for sure. So I will definitely use the brow pencil. And if there were a slightly better color match, I think this probably would be one of like my go-tos because I do really like the texture of it. I just feel like the color could be a little bit closer. Okay, so now I'm going to set my eyeshadow primer once I find my brush. I'm gonna use this Pro Contour Powder. I'm gonna take the highlight in here, get some of that on a Moda crease brush, and just set that concealer. Okay, I'm gonna take this beautiful palette. This is the Get Feverish. So pretty. So I really don't know what I want to do. So we're just gonna dive on in and start doing something. I think I'm gonna start with a little bit of this one right here on a Cozette S175. And I'm just going to apply this into, wow. Ooh, that is nice and pigmented. Apply this into my crease is what I was trying to say. I was distracted by the pretty pigmentation to it. This is blending very well. It's not taking a lot of product to build this up. It's just looking really, really nice. Wow, I'm impressed with the texture. I'm gonna take some of this mauve color right here and apply it kind of in the same place. I just wanna make this a little bit more mauve-y rosy versus super duper rusty orangey. Okay, I think I'm gonna use this color right here for my lids. So getting that on a Makeup Geek shadow brush or foiled shadow brush. Gonna spray it with some setting spray and set my setting spray somewhere that I have an open spot. You should see it's just like a total mess in front of me. And then I'm just going to build this up on my lids. That's applying really nicely. I have the tiniest little bit of fallout, but it is minimal. This isn't the most metallic shadow I've ever seen, but it is very pretty. And I mean, it definitely has that metallic look to it. It could be a little bit more intense, but oh, see, I just got some fallout. I had too much product on my brush and I didn't tap it off. So I think that is more my bad. But yeah, it looks like the metallic kind of a sheen to it can be built up. This is pretty. I'm gonna lightly dust away some of this fallout here. And then I'm gonna get some of this darkest shade right here on a Morphe M507 brush and just apply this into my outer corner. Wow, that's pigmented. Just gonna apply that there and then just barely blend it over, just a tiny little bit. Don't want it to kind of overtake my eye, but I just want a little bit of dimension there. As I bring it over, I am lightening the pressure, so using very little pressure as I bring it over into my crease. I'm using a Cozette D220 brush and just doing a little bit of light blending, kind of bringing it up a little bit higher to kind of soften that line. That's pretty, y'all. I really like those shadows. Very nice. Okay, so I have several of these really fun neon, the Shockwave neon eyeliners and lip liners. They look like this. They are bright and fun. I swatched these in another video, so I'll link it for you down below. I think I'm just gonna use the black. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna use the black. The Shockwave neon eyeliner, neon in black. Just gonna line my upper lash line with this liner. Don't wanna take it like too high or too thick or anything, but I'm just gonna line and maybe do a little bit of a wing, just kind of lift my eyes. Just tight lining a tiny little bit. I don't like to tight line a lot. I like to kind of keep eyeliner out of my eyes, but I'm just kind of filling in a couple little spots just so it looks The lash line looks nice and full. These are super nice and creamy. They don't drag on the eyes. Nice texture to them. This one is nice and inky and black. So there's that. Okay, y'all, I'm trying a mascara. I'm just so picky about mascaras, but I'm gonna give it a shot. This is the Super Mega Mascara. This is what it looks like. Let me show you the wand on it. Really cute packaging to it. Love the pink. So the wand is kind of like a fatter wand. Looks like that right there. So it's a brush, sort of a wand to it. So we're gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna start applying. Okay, so there is one coat, and that's just not doing much. I mean, it sort of separates, but I'm getting it up on my eyelid. I do see that, but that's my bad. Oh, I don't know. I think so many mascaras are like this, where they're separating, which is good, but I want volume. I want volume and length, and this is like, the lashes look so tiny. They just look so tiny. What is going on there? What is going on? I don't know. It's like it grabbed two of the lashes and decided to make them super long, and then the other ones, no. So I'm gonna switch to another mascara. So I'm gonna use the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara, because I want some volume and some length. I love this mascara. It does smudge on me for sure, but most do. But I mean, this gives mega volume, mega length. I mean, you can see even just, oop, got it all over my eyelid right there. You can see just even that right there. I mean, already is making a difference. See it? Just like instant volume and length. Had to change my battery, so I probably moved a little bit. Okay, so let's clean up the under eyes. I'm gonna use the Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer in this pinky shade. This is the Cool Pink Corrector. I had used this before because I wanted to test it out and see kind of how it wore and worked, and I really, really like this. It's very light. A little bit goes a long way with it, but I do feel like it is a pretty good alternative to the Maybelline color corrector that I love so much, the Master Camo, the pinky one. This one I think is a little bit lighter, and the texture is a little bit thicker, but I mean, it works pretty well, and it's hard to find good pink color correctors sometimes, and this one I feel like is one that works pretty well. So you can see, I just used very little, but I do think it's very brightening and color correcting, so I do really enjoy it. I would just say use a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way with it. Okay, now I'm gonna use more of this concealer that I used as my eyeshadow primer. I'm just gonna get a little bit on my finger and just apply this under my eyes just for a little bit more coverage. Just kind of build this up. This looks a little bit light on me. I'm also gonna bring some on my nose to try to kind of like even that out, since it's looking a little bit dry and patchy. So I'm bringing this down into a V, bringing some over onto my nose, just kind of concealing all the things, evening and concealing. I like that concealer. I think it works well. I think it conceals well. Let me look in a mirror. It overall doesn't look dry, I wouldn't say. I mean, maybe a smidgen borderline. It's very full coverage, so I think it can end up looking a little bit heavy if you use a lot of it, but I think overall for how much coverage you get, it's not a bad concealer. I think it's very workable. Is it my absolute favorite? No, I don't think so, and as I'm kind of looking at it more, it does look a little bit heavy. So I probably use a little bit too much. So I would say use the tiniest amount that you can get away with, because it is very full coverage, because I just don't think you need a ton of it. And if you do apply a ton, it does start to look a little bit heavy, but with great coverage. With great coverage. Okay, for powder, I'm gonna use some of this LA Girl Matte Pressed Powder. That's what it looks like. Pro Face High Definition Matte Pressed Powder. I'm a little bit afraid to put this under my eyes with it already looking a little bit dry, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. Let's say a little prayer. Let's say a little prayer. Is there a mirror in here? Yes. Okay, so this is like this. And then this comes up and there's a mirror on this back side up there. Okay, so I'm gonna get some of this. This looks a little bit yellowy. I think I got the lightest color. This is Classic Ivory. So just applying this with an e.l.f. small tapered brush. And then I'm also gonna use a Real Techniques blush brush for the rest of my face. This is actually looking pretty good, honestly, color-wise, because it was looking, my under eyes were looking pretty light, so I think that this is kind of helping to balance it a little bit and giving a little bit more warmth to my face. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Okay, that looks pretty good. For being a matte powder, it doesn't look super duper dry. Again, it's still looking a little bit dry in here, but it already was with the foundation. But the rest of my face, looking pretty good. I think it evened pretty well. Not a ton of coverage like you can see on my chin. I think I just like naturally don't apply as much foundation there or something. Because I usually notice it doesn't look as covered. Oh, this is adding more coverage. Yeah, got a little coverage to it. Okay, so I think that powder seems pretty good. Overall, I think I like it. There it is. Okay, so I bought this Pro Contour powder, highlight and contour to do contouring with, but then I also got this Blushed Babe blush palette, and it has a kind of bronzy sort of a color in there. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start out with this one because it's a little bit more cool toned, and then I'm gonna go over it with that other one that looks a little bit more warm toned. So I'm just gonna use a BH Cosmetics number 15 brush, get some of this contour shade on there. A little bit powdery it seems. Yeah, it's kind of puff and powder a little bit. Oh, oh, that's nice and pigmented. So let's see how it blends. This is blending easily. Yeah, this seems very easy to work with. I like the cover. I can't speak today. I like the color of it, that it is like a cool tone color, but seems to have a little bit of like a rosy undertone to it. This is pretty. That's really nice. I like how that blended and applied. I like the color of it. That's good. And I liked this too for setting my eyeshadow primer. I might have been able to use it under my eyes too. Let's just layer a little bit as I'm dropping everything. Let's just layer a little bit. Put some under my eyes as well, just for a little bit of, bring back that brightness that I just said that we even out. Bring back more brightness, why not? Okay, now I'm gonna take that blush palette and get some of this one right here. A little bit more warm toned. Tap that off. It's kicking up a little bit of product in the pan, but not bad. And just gonna apply a little bit of this. Oh, definitely warmer. I'm barely touching because I'm liking how the other's looking, so I don't want to necessarily change that, but I do want to get to see this and how it works. That's pretty. If you like a warmer tone bronzer, that one's a little bit more warm toned that comes in this palette. Okay, so now I'm gonna use, what am I gonna use? I think let me think. This packaging is so hard to get into. I mean, it takes forever to get into this stuff. I mean, it's a good thing. I would rather it be like this so that, you know, you don't get used makeup and whatnot. But holy moly, it is like cemented in there. I'm just opening this up to try to see what color this is so I can kind of make a decision on my blush color, because I'm gonna use this, which is a shifting color. Okay. I think I'm gonna use a combination of these two. Kind of a little bit pinky, kind of a little bit mauve-y. So I'm gonna get these two right here on just like an angled Sigma brush. Wow! That's pigmented. Okay, I'm barely touching. Okay, so it's blending well. It is just very pigmented, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. My favorite blushes are ones that are a little bit more buildable, because this, it's like you have to just be really careful with it, but it doesn't seem necessarily difficult to blend. So pretty colors. It's a nice pink. I will show you real quick. So there's the pink and there's the mauve. Very pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my under eyes. So I'm gonna use some of, I think this color right here on just a little brush, an Essence of Beauty brush from CVS. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of this on my lower lash line. And then I'm gonna get a little dab of this one right here and just put that right on the outer corners just to kind of tie in that liner, just a little bit more depth in that outer part. Then for my lower lashes, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use the CoverGirl Clump Crusher just because I know this and that other mascara just really didn't work out for me. Okay, and then for highlighter, I think I'm gonna do some layering. So I got this Moonlight Magic highlighting palette. So this is what it looks like. These aren't super pigmented. I mean, they're pretty, but they're not like crazy pigmented, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of like an FYI. So let me get a brush. Where is there a brush? Found it. I had one particular brush I knew I wanted to use. Okay, so I'm gonna get some of this one right here, this lightest shade. I think I might get a little dab of this one too. So those two right there. And just apply this. Wow. Okay. Swatches didn't tell the whole story there, because on the cheekbones, that is very pretty. Very light catching. I'm wiping off my brush just to make sure my brush is clean and that it is these highlighters that I'm seeing on my face. Wow. Yeah, totally. These are very pretty. Okay. I don't know that they're like crazy, super unique colors necessarily, but they're very pretty and I think very versatile. You've got kind of bronzier shades, you've got that lighter shade, you've got kind of a gold, more cool toned and more warm toned. So I think it's a good kind of like go-to highlighter palette, but if you're a makeup junkie, you probably have some of these kind of colors. I'm just talking and adding more, just keeping on going. I think that's very pretty, very blendable, pretty colors. I don't know that it's necessarily an essential highlighter palette, especially if you have a lot of highlighters, but if you're looking for just a great highlighter palette, you don't have a lot of highlighters, I do think this is a good one because it's got some great options in there and they work well. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit on the inner corners of my eyes. I get a little combination once again of these two and just pop some of that on the inner corners of my eyes just for some brightness and some highlighting there. I'm finding that I'm using a little bit more of the lighter color just to kind of get a little bit more brightness. And for my skin tone, I think that lightest color really kind of works the best. Okay, now I'm gonna use this Glowin' Up highlighting jelly, and I got this shade Princess Glow, kind of a pinky color. Y'all, I didn't think I was gonna be able to get in this thing because it was so tightly closed. I tried and tried and I was like, man, I may not be able to use this. And I finally got into it. I'm gonna get just a little bit. It's like a jelly sort of a highlighter. So it's kind of liquidy, kind of jelly. It's sort of just interesting and different. And I'm gonna tap this on top of that other highlighter. Ooh, this is pretty. It is shimmery. So you have to like shimmer in a highlighter to go for this. These kind of jelly highlighters, I don't find them the easiest thing to use. They're kind of a little bit more like just something fun and different. If you just kind of like to play and have fun with makeup, then I think it's a fun thing to have. I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to reach for all the time necessarily, just because I don't find myself reaching for products like that, just because they take a little bit different application. But I think this is done well because it's very pretty. If you're gonna have a shimmery highlighter, it's kind of nice having it in this sort of a form because it's got something to kind of adhere to your face with. So this is a very pretty pinky shimmery highlighter. I think it's fun. I think it's something different. I think it's a lot of fun. And then for lips, I was trying to pick something neutral and I kind of ended up with a brown lip combo. That wasn't what I was going for when I ordered this stuff online, but when it came in, it was like, oh, that looks brown. So we're gonna have kind of a brownie lip, and that's what we're gonna go with. So I'm gonna take this LA Girl lip liner in Sable. So it is a pencil lip liner. Gonna line my lips with that, and then I'm gonna use the LA Girl cream lipstick, and this is in Tell Me Lies. I'm gonna apply both of those. I like the texture of this lip pencil. It's not super dry, so it seems to glide on the lips really easily. I like that color too. It's kind of a mauve-y brown, so that's very pretty. This has a little bit of a perfumey kind of a smell. It sort of reminds me of Ralph perfume, just barely. Interesting. So that is a brown lip color, but I kind of like it. It's sort of a little bit cool tone brown. It's a little bit of a light taupey chocolatey brown. I actually really kind of like that. Formula-wise, very comfortable. I like that a lot, actually. It reminds me, the shape of it reminds me of like the Wet n Wild lipsticks. That's nice. I like that lipstick. And last thing I'm going to use is Glitter Magic Shimmer Shifting Lip Color. Pretty packaging on it. So it's like sparkly looking packaging. I think I'm going to blot my lips first. Yeah, there. So kind of lighten that a little bit because I really want to see this a little bit more. It is a slightly angled doe foot applicator right there. So let's see. Huh. I don't really see what this is supposed to be doing. Let me look this up. Okay, I was not doing this correctly. It says take lip color from a matte metallic to a beautiful glittery finish. So it's one of those. Trying to talk my mouth open. Once it's dry, you press the lips together to pull shimmers to the surface. So it's one of those. So I'm gonna let this dry. Okay, I think it's mostly dry, so let's see what happens. Yeah. I mean, a little bit. Kind of purpley. It's kind of becoming browny purple. This is strange. I guess it's kind of cool looking. Maybe I just picked kind of an interesting sort of color. This is a very creative, different sort of a shade. Because it is like a taupey brown with a purpley shift to it. Not sure how flattering that is looking next to my teeth. Like, I don't know if it's making my teeth look a little bit yellow or not. But there it is. It's still feeling tacky. Yeah. I think these kind of lip colors are, see, we're just going to sit here and keep doing this for a second. Yeah, I think these kind of lip colors are kind of different and fun and creative, but not always, I don't know, not always the most practical, or just not something I would grab for a lot. Because it's like a liquid lipstick, but then with some shimmer situation with it, so it's just a little bit like something that like doesn't draw me in. But there it is. You get to see it. Okay guys, so here is the finished look. So overall, I think most everything came together pretty well. I do think I look just a little bit like makeup-y in here and on my forehead. So I don't know that the face products are my absolute favorites. I have used this, like I said, multiple times, and with other powders, I do really like this, but I think mixed with the matte powder, it's just a little bit too much matte for my preferences. So I do really like this foundation, but I like it paired with different powders. Ones with a little bit more hydration, like the Laura Geller Baked Balance and Brighten, or the Ben Nye Luxury Powder. Just ones that have a little bit more hydration, because paired that way, it's really nice, very long wearing. But with the matte, it's just a lot of matte. The lip color has set down quite a bit. It is still a little bit tacky though, so a lot of these kind of glittery sort of lip colors, like the shade shifting, glitter enhancing, whatever lip colors, seem like they keep a little bit of tackiness to them. So this is not my overall favorite, but some things that I really do enjoy. I really like the blush palette. I think that's pretty. The highlighter palette really surprised me. I think that the eyeshadow palette is very pretty wherever that went. The eyeshadow palette, the Get Feverish palette, I think that is very pretty. They were blendable, buildable, not difficult to work with, really just pretty shadows. So I really like that. This little guy blended very well, so I like him. I really do enjoy the lip color a lot. I think this is really nice. Liked the lip liner as well. Didn't mind the brow product if there were a better color match for me. I think that was pretty good formula-wise. Didn't like the mascara. Not a fan of this, but I'm super picky with mascaras. So, you know, you can kind of take that into consideration when you hear my opinion on it. I'm super picky about mascara. And I do like the concealers. I think that they are just ones that a little bit goes a long way with them, and they can end up looking heavy if you use too much of them. But overall, great coverage on them. Just a little bit goes a long way. All right, guys, so that wraps up this video. So I hope that you really enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful for you. Please do a thumbs up if it was. Let me know down below if you've tried any of these products. What are your thoughts on them? Let me know down below. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer those. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!